I feel like I should get some intro music or something. I feel like my streams kind of just start. Hi, hello, welcome to Monday. Excuse me, I probably sound not the greatest. You'll notice that last time we were here, I was pretty exhausted. I got sick, because of course I did. So if I'm still a little bit under the weather, I'll probably be fine by tomorrow, but please forgive me today. I am like a little bit still stuffed up and a little bit sore in the throat still. Ugh, alas. Here we are. I hope everybody's having a good Monday. Happy Monday. Hope you all had a good weekend. I heard there's some cats playing, and I'm a fan. I'm a fan of that. I don't really have any announcements except that if you're curious about the math for the Trump tariffs and you're curious about like what that's about and what that equation that's going around is, Landon, who is a mathematician, is going to be on Debate Hub official. So you can come and join us for that if you want to ask any questions. Landon's got a few opinions about it and about the tariffs overall, and that'll be a good time. And then on Thursday, Jordan from Reason to Doubt is going to be over on Debate Hub talking to me about what it's like being an American versus Canada right now and how that's going, because it seems like it's not great. Seems not great. For anybody who's new here, hi, I'm Chesh. I cover politics and a lot of other goobery things, but if you're following from over on Debate Hub, where I do more educational, political, professional stuff, that's not this place. I don't do that here. We're here to do goober things. So, speaking of Canadian politics, a senator named Adam Schiff, senator and American, he's got a message for Canada. It's pretty short, so I figured I'd take a listen to it and see what this American senator has to say to me. From my understanding, he's a Democrat, but let's just see what he has to say.
So tonight I want to talk to Canada about Canada. I would say my feelings toward our neighbor to the north were best summarized by President John F. Kennedy on his first trip out of the United States as president.
Geography has made us neighbors. History has made us friends. Economics has made us partners. And necessity...
Nothing bad has ever happened to the Kennedys. Sorry, I have brain rot. If you guys have never seen Clone High, you're missing out.
has made us allies. Those whom nature has so joined together, let no man put asunder.
Let no man tear asunder. Sadly, today, one man has torn that relationship asunder, and that's what I want to talk about today. Because I remember vividly in October of 2016, I remember like it was yesterday, when Americans were first starting to question who we were and where we were headed. I remember that Canadians put together a beautiful video, a video of Canadians describing the great things that America had done, the things that we had invented, the contributions we were making to the world. I remember watching that video and how it made me feel about being an American. And I'd like you to take a look at what you had to say, Canada.
But as you're thinking about your future, we just want you to know that
you guys are great.
You really are great. You invented the internet.
You guys are going to get humanity to Mars.
Your national park systems protect some of the most beautiful places on Earth.
All your diversity and all...
Oh, this hasn't aged well, has it? Oh no. So the national parks have been defunded. America kind of invented the internet. There's a little bit more to it than that, but sure. Diversity. Oh, that's unfortunate.
All your openness.
The fact that you're such a giving nation, over $250 billion a year is donated to charities.
So wonderful and warm and accommodating.
When things are tough, you fight to make them better. The disability rights movement in America is amazing.
You are infectious, entertaining.
Your gift to the world of jazz music.
Bluegrass music.
I agree. I agree with the infectious part.
R&B.
Biggie and pop.
Political and social activism.
Forging new paths.
You dream big.
Your quest to be the best creates the best.
A land of opportunity where anyone can be anything they want to be.
The vibrancy and the diversity and the idea that we can all live together.
You know, America, I think you're already great.
You're great, America.
We all love you, and we think you've always been great. Thanks, America.
How bad was... When did this come out? Why did Canada make this video? America was this like in and around 9/11? Was this, because like I'm trying to think about like when did America get so fragile that it needed like a fucking a good ball washing from Canada to be like, come on, you guys are great. Like what is happening? Or is this an intervention? Why did we do this?
I think you're great. Stay great, America.
When I think of that video now, I have to say it breaks my heart because I know there is such anger and animosity directed at the United States from Canada, which I can more than understand. But as you were so kind to remind us Americans of the better angels of our nature, I want to take this opportunity to say a few thank yous to you, Canada, to remind Americans what we have to be so grateful for with our Canadian friends and neighbors. Let me start with the most significant.
This is sad. I'm not gonna speak for all Canadians, because I'm not all Canadians. I do think I have got a decent bead on how Canada's kind of the vibe and how we kind of are currently feeling overall as a nation. And yes, I do have some polls that we could take a look at. Just really quick, just really briefly, fuck off. Like, you're flapping of your gums right now to thank us for all we've done for you, while you're terrifying us, attacking us, questioning our sovereignty, arresting our people at the border for no reason, and then detaining them in terrible conditions, and then putting extra fucking shit on, like, you're saying this is a message to Canada for Canadians, but that's not what this is. This is you trying to pander to Americans to be like, come on, America, you know that Canada's our friend, right? Like, come on, remember how great the Canadians are to us? We know what we did for you. Your thanks means nothing. And, like, you don't think we see through this? Like, this is so disingenuous. Good God, man. Thank us by doing something. And, like, that's a very Canadian attitude, right? It's a very Canadian attitude to be like, I mean, thanks, bud. Anyway, like, what are you doing, though? Because what you're doing is what's more important than what it is you're saying. So, like, I appreciate it, but, like, fuck off? Like, oh, no.
And that is that Canada, you have stood by our side in practically every war that we have been in. You have fought next to us, you have died next to us, whether it was Canadian soldiers and American soldiers in World War I.
Okay, you need to talk to, again, we're back to, you need to talk to your people who don't know this, not us. One of the first people we covered in Canada versus MAGA was somebody who said that Canadians don't get a say because they've never fought and they've never had military fighting and dying for America. So again, we're back to who is this message actually for? Because I don't think it's for me. I don't think it's for Canada. So what are you even doing?
Or Canadians and Americans in World War II, or Canadians who came to our aid after 9/11 and served side by side with us in Afghanistan and died.
And during 9/11 and redirecting flights, and Canadians who were at the towers at the time and in America, like, you know, like, we view 9/11 as attack on us too, right? That's why it would, like, the thing that got blown up was the World Trade Center. That's one of the reasons why, like, a lot of other countries even felt the need to get involved, or felt that this was attack on kind of everybody, not just America. Because it was the World Trade... Never mind, you don't know that.
By our side, Canada, you have been there for us in the most meaningful way possible, that you have put the lives of your sons and daughters on the line for your friends and neighbors out of a shared friendship and out of our shared values. And of that, I am the most grateful. And I wish our president had some recollection of that. But there...
Bro, then do something about it. Like, again, one of the problems that we're facing right now, and some of the rhetoric that you see coming out of particularly the leading candidate for our Prime Minister, Mark Carney, is that our relationship with America is over, or the prior relationship is done. We need to forge new relationships, and we need to build new stuff, specifically because your country doesn't share our values anymore. We don't share values. We value education. We value diversity. We value different perspectives. We value people's rights. You don't. America does not value human rights. America does not value free speech. America does not value its own people. America doesn't value diversity and inclusion and, like, just having different perspectives on things. It sure as hell doesn't value education. It hasn't spent money on education and research in years. Not any real money. These are not values that we share anymore and have not shared in a long time. So when you're talking about, like, I wish my president shared and remembered these values, the problem is that you voted him in twice. This is what the people wanted. This is what Americans wanted. And even if it's not the majority, let's say he doesn't win the popular vote, right? Even if it's not the popular vote, yeah, it doesn't value health. Yeah, that's a good point. Even if you throw that in there, right? You run into this very, very big problem that an incredibly large portion of Americans do not value the same things that the majority of Canadians value. And I can say the majority of Canadians with confidence because right now you're polling at an 87% of Canadians are saying what I'm telling you right now. That we do not share those values. So it's a problem and a mistake, I think, to shift that onto, well, it's just the president. I wish our president shared these, like, understood and remembered that we share these values. We don't share these values. You can't fix a problem until you acknowledge what the problem is. And until Americans are willing to acknowledge the problem, they can't start fixing it, because they're either in denial, they're shifting the blame, or they're not directing their anger in the right way. So the problem will never be stopped, and they're easily going to get led around by the nose, which is exactly what we're seeing. It's not like Canadians were equally as frustrated and disenfranchised with their government after COVID. We came out of COVID kind of pretty running parallel. But we don't want what you have. We don't want to be American. We don't like what America does. We haven't for a long time. We've tried to forge and maintain the relationship, but it's been a one-way street for a really, really long time. It's been a one-way street since 9/11, if not longer, at least. At best, you could say it's like Afghanistan. At best. To me, this comes off as a very gross misunderstanding of where Canadians are at, where it's tone deaf. This is tone deaf. It doesn't understand where Canadians are at. It doesn't understand where Americans are at. It's talking to people like they're children, and it's completely misunderstanding, and even till this point, misrepresenting history. Like, specifically Canada's military history. Like, oh, it's our brothers and sisters in World War II. Motherfucker, do you have any idea what Canada did during World War I and World War II? Do you have any idea how much Americans or Canadians were just shoved into the worst fucking situations because nobody else wanted to do that, as if America was a part of World War II the whole time. Like, no. Please, could you guys at least get this shit and this information correct and show that you actually know anything about us before you try to placate us with platitudes about, oh my god, thanks for helping us in World War II. Shut the fuck up, asshole. Bro, don't think we won't do more war crimes. By that I mean invent new war crimes. Good God. It's so bizarre. This is so strange. This is like, what are we doing?
There is so much else for us to be grateful about our Canadian friends and neighbors, and not just as Americans, but as people of the world. My father was dependent on insulin for most of his adult life. I thank you, Canada, for insulin. And America, if you have anybody you know on insulin, you can thank Canada too. If you're concerned about the Ebola virus spreading, you can thank Canada for an Ebola vaccine.
So one of the fun things about the insulin, so insulin invented in Canada, yes. Invented by a Canadian, yes. There was there's a team, but there was like the lead doctor, yada 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 yada. Right. We all know this. The thing that mattered and was really important about insulin is that the person who invented it, like, gave it away. Right? Like, let me pull this up. Sorry, let me just hold on. I pulled up the Wikipedia article. So, like, because this is indicative of the problem. I promise I have a point. This is indicative of the issue. Can you guys see that? Yeah, you can. Okay. Let's see if I can make this a little bit. There you go. Okay. Let's see. Give me the invention, production, synthesis, function. Sorry, give me 1 second. I just, like, this is important, I promise. I have a point. Disease syndrome, medical uses. History, discovery. In 1869, while studying the structure of the pancreas under a microscope, Paul Langerhans, a German pathologist, medical student in Berlin, identified some previously unnoticed tissue clumps scattered throughout the bulk of the pancreas. Blah, 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 blah. In 1889, the physician Oskar Minkowski, in collaboration with Joseph von Meering, removed the pancreas from a healthy dog and tested it. Over the next 2 decades, researchers made several attempts to isolate it, blah blah blah. In 1906, achieved a partial success in treating dogs. Then Israel Simon demonstrated similar effects. In 1905, World War I interrupted the work. In 1916, Nikola developed some other thing, and then World War II happened. Sorry, World War I thing, because it got interrupted. 1921, he wrote a paper about it. Extraction and purification. Here we go. In October of... So, listen. We're talking about Germany. One American. One guy from Romania. Like, this wasn't just Canadian work, right? You know what I mean? And they likely would have succeeded if they didn't get interrupted by World War I, right? So I just want to be clear here. Any like vaccine, anything like this is very rarely done by a singular person's work. And I think that's important to acknowledge. But here's the thing I'm kind of getting at. In October of 1920, Canadian Frederick Banting concluded that the digestive secretions that Minkowski had originally studied were breaking down the islet. I can't fucking read this shit. Give me the fucking point. You've traveled to Toronto to explain it to the professor at University of Toronto. McLeod was initially skeptical. Blah 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 blah. Here we go. Diabetic laying at Toronto Hospital, given the first injection of insulin in 1922. 12 days, work day and night to improve the ox pancreas extract, blah, 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 blah. Here we go. Toward the end of January of 1922, tensions mounted between the 4 co-discoverers of insulin, and Cullip briefly threatened to separately patent his purification process. John G. Fitzgerald, director of the non-commercial public health institution, therefore stepped in as peacemaker, resulting in agreement of 25th of January 1922 established 2 key conditions. One, that the collaborators would sign a contract agreeing not to take out a patent with a commercial pharmaceutical firm during an initial working period, and 2, that no changes in research policy would be allowed unless first discussed among Fitzgerald and the 4 collaborators. Helped contain the disagreement and tied the research to the public mandate. Do you see what I'm saying? Do you see what I'm getting at? McLeod and Banting were particularly reluctant to patent their process for insulin on grounds of medical ethics. Concern remains that a private third party would hijack and monopolize the research, and the safe distribution would be difficult to guarantee without capacity for quality control. The concern that the Canadians had in distribution and creation of this vaccine wasn't profit. It was a concern that they wouldn't fucking be able to get it to people, and it wouldn't be affordable for people to actually be able to use it, and that the quality couldn't be maintained. It's insulting. It's insulting for a fucking American to come on a fucking YouTube as a fucking senator and be like, thanks Canada for insulin, after how hard the Canadian had to work to even not only make the damn thing, get the damn thing out there, but then also had to fight his ass off to ensure that it wouldn't be bought out by a third party and fucked up. It's a really uniquely fucking American problem that he has to overcome. So if you're going to sit here and you're going to be like, we want to thank Canadians, you need to actually understand what it is you're thanking us for. You're not thanking us for the invention of insulin. You're thanking us for the distribution of it being so cheap that you have fucked up for your people, which is the problem. Who are you talking to? It got fucked up anyway. Right, it got fucked up anyway. It's not so bad in Canada. It's not, but like other countries have it, it's way better. Insulin is nearly as expensive, but in America, oh hell no. You're literally, this is gonna make things worse. This is so tone deaf. Like, you're sitting here being like, hey, thank you, Canadians, for inventing this thing that you're dying because you're not able to get because of our fucking our medical system. Like, what are you talking about? Like, all that's gonna, like, for anybody who's, like, not educated on the topic, and anybody who doesn't, like, who is just suffering from diabetes and can't get their insulin and they're dying, are you trying to redirect their anger at Canada to be like, so Canada's the reason why I can't get my insulin. Oh, Canada's the reason why I can't afford that. As if that's, like, fucking, as anything, like, anything to do with us. Like, we tried, dude. We tried so hard and got so far, but in the end, now, the people who used to be able to hop the border to get their insulin cheaper in Canada can't do that. Or at least can't do it as easily now. And it's gonna get more difficult. So, what are you talking about? What, like, the levels of how, like, fucked up this is. It's, good God, man. Like, I'm back to, who are you talking to? Are you talking to Americans or are you talking to Canadians? Because you said you're talking to Canadians, and now you're telling us about the things that we did, and it's like, I want to thank you. I don't care. Like, we don't care. Thank us by doing something.
About the Ebola virus spreading, you can thank Canada for an Ebola vaccine. If you have a family member...
You're telling, like, half of Americans are anti-vax. Like, a large portion of Americans think that vaccines are evil and cause autism. You're telling those Americans to thank blaming Canada for autism now. Like, we all know that that's not true. We know that, but they don't know that. So they're gonna hear this and be like, oh, you mean all the evil government chips? That all the evil things that are getting injected into our bodies? That's all Canada? Oh! This is so stupid.
With a pacemaker, thank you Canada for pacemakers. If you like PB&J, thank you Canada, well, at least for the peanut butter. If you thrilled to going to an IMAX movie, thank you Canada for that amazing technology. If you have been inspired by Captain Kirk to want to boldly go.
Alexander Graham Bell was Canadian. He was also super anti-deaf people and was kind of a piece of shit about that for some reason. I don't know. He thought like something like being deaf was genetic or something, and like wanted to like erase deaf people. I don't know. It's wanted to like quote unquote try to like breed them out of existence or some weird shit. Anyway, Alexander Graham Bell is Canadian. He invented the phone. So like Captain Kirk.
Where no man has gone before.
You can thank Canada. If you're a hockey fan, you can thank Canada for the greatest that ever was.
Oh, this is really tone deaf. Everyone in Canada fucking hates Wayne Gretzky. Did you just not Google anything before you put this together? Yo, okay, so here's the thing. So Wayne Gretzky... Eugenist, yes, thank you, that's the term. So, like, here's the thing with Wayne Gretzky, right? So besides the fact that he basically lives in America all the time now, and he's an asshole in general, like, he's just kind of an arrogant prick, he was awarded, the same thing that Mark Carney actually was awarded. It was like, it's like a special Canada medal for, like, doing things for, doing great things for Canada, quote unquote. So the 2008 financial crisis, Carney got the award. Terry Fox got it, etc., etc., etc. I think that Terry Fox might have gotten it after. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Wayne Gretzky was awarded this thing, but he doesn't have it because he never actually showed up to get it. So he just ignored it. And so, like, that already pissed off a bunch of Canadians, because it's like, wow, okay, sure. And then on top of it, he's, like, chumming around with Trump, and he was chumming around with, like, what's that security guy? Some other guy, they caught pictures of him chumming around. And so, like, Canadians have, like, disowned Wayne Gretzky. Like, if we had not disowned him by now, like, his association with Donald Trump, like, he's boycotted too. Like, his wine's been boycotted. He's got, like, a winery. It's, like, Wayne Gretzky fucking... He's got his name on it and shit, and it's overpriced, and, like, that's getting boycotted too. Like, it's getting the American treatment up here. So, like, to try to appeal to Canadians by bringing up hockey and then and using Wayne Gretzky, well, everybody's like, yo, fuck that guy, is probably not really on the beat of... And I would like to point out that this is from April 11th. This is from, like, a couple of days ago. This isn't, like, old, right? This isn't old. This is our new video. Yeah, you could have brought up, like, Sidney Crosby. That'd probably be, like, your better bet, right? At least right now. But, like, good God, man. What are you doing?
Just a one-man show, Wayne Gretzky.
If you have thrilled to the idiocy of this guy...
Cannot. Triple stamped it. No erases. Touch blue make it.
Okay, so... Jim Carrey isn't an idiot. somebody making funny faces because they're a comedy actor. It's this is so bad. This is so bad. Have you seen any of Jim Carrey's work that is not comedy? Have you seen anything that Jim Carrey has done in the last like 10 years? Why is this so bad? Is he about to bring up Bieber? Because if he does, he's trolling. I swear to God, if he says like and subscribe at the end of this, I'm gonna flip out.
Get through. You can't triple stamp a double stamp. You can't triple stamp a double stamp, Lord. You can't triple stamp a double stamp.
You can thank Canada. If you like basketball, if you're grateful for the invention of basketball, you can thank Canada. Thank you, Canada, for basketball. If you love music, there is so much to be grateful to Canada for. Can I get a hallelujah on that? Hallelujah. So I want to thank you, Canada, for all you've contributed.
I want to die.
Contributed in the fields of art and science and music and film, to all the Nobel Prizes that you've won, for all the inventions that you have produced. I want to thank you for the sacrifices you've made on the battlefield. I want to thank you, and most particular and most recent, I want to thank you for something else.
I don't know if Jim Carrey is still anti-vax. He did go on a stint. There was a time period when Jim Carrey got really fucking weird, but he seems to have pulled back from that, so I don't know if he's still on that train or not. So, can we just stop, pretty please? No, cringe. We're gonna cringe into oblivion. Cringe with me.
When fires ravaged my
Eternal happiness of the spotless mind.
Hometown of Los Angeles, when they were still burning in Altadena and they were burning in the Palisades, I went to one of the incident command centers, and I had the privilege of serving food to the firefighters who were battling those blazes. And I can't tell you how many of those firefighters were Canadians. And
if you were trying to thank us, you should probably know how many of those firefighters were Canadian. Like, you couldn't, like, Google it? You couldn't look it up and be like, how many of those people were firefighters? Like, don't get me wrong, I don't expect you to, like, recognize them on site during the fight. That's not what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say if you're gonna make a video to Canadians, for Canadians, about Canada, or even if you're going to make a video about Canada thanking Canadians for Americans, you should probably Google at least how many, Canadians were sent. Like, good God, dude. Hold on. How many Canadian firefighters were dispatched to the Los Angeles fires? Government response to the wildfires in California. January 10th, 2025, Ottawa, Ontario can express their deepest sadness at the devastating wildfires currently impacting South California. This is from the Government of Canada's website. Two CL-415 water bombers. So this is the recent one, by the way. This is the recent LA fires, not these are the ones from 2000. This is ones from January, right? So, like, boom, Canada joins the fight against Los Angeles area wildfires, 2025. 250 firefighters, aircraft equipment, and other resources as early as Thursday. Wow. That was so hard to find, guys. It was so hard. It was so difficult to just quickly look up how many firefighters were in California. So just say they sent over 250 because, like, there's, like, and other resources. Because the other resources could be, like, not just firefighters, but, like, people. You know what I mean? So like, you could also just call. You can pick up the phone. You're an American senator. Just fucking do. Hi, yeah. How many firefighters did you guys send to California? Like, all this does is demonstrate how flippant how flippant and entitled Americans in power feel about the help that Canada gets them. Well, yeah, thank you for that. We don't know anything about it, or what that cost you, or what that means to you, or how many people you even actually sent. Jim Carrey's now ex-wife was the anti-vax one, and he was going out along with what his wife said. Yeah, you know. Happy wife, happy life, allegedly. Yeah, I don't know what his current positions are. But you see what I was getting at with this, right? Like, this is insulting. This is so bad. This is recent, right? He's talking about the recent one, right? Yeah, and most recent.
And I want to thank you for something else. When fires ravaged my hometown of Los Angeles, when they were still burning in Altadena and they were burning in the Palisades, I went to one of the incident command centers, and I had the privilege of serving food to the firefighters who were battling those blazes. And I can't tell you how many of those firefighters were Canadians. And I want to thank you, Canada, for sending those firefighters, many of them from Alberta, to help us battle those blazes. Sadly, I remember one of them asking me, coming back after he had his meal and asking me, do we have to worry about Canada becoming the 51st state?
All right, chat. 1 in the chat if yes, 2 in the chat if no. Do you think this is a real story, or do you think he made this up? Do you think a Canadian firefighter, after eating his, like, ration porridge handed out to him by fucking Adam Schiff, fucking walked up to him and said, do we have to worry about, please, sir? Like, what the fuck? This isn't real, right? This isn't a real story. This didn't fucking happen. I don't think this is real. This is fake news. This is a lie. I'm getting fucking, yeah, 1 in the chat if you think this story is true, 2 in the chat if you think this story is fake. I think this is fake. There's no way. There's no fucking way this is a real story. Do we drink for imaginary conversation? When did you become dapper? No, that's what this is. I am so getting, this is giving me young earth creationist. I was actually having a conversation with the googly eyes on my fucking shampoo bottle in the shower. I don't think this is real. Landon says, as background, the senator from California, like Bernie Sanders, he is one of the few senators that has been speaking out strongly against MAGA policies, working with AOC and anti-MAGA legislation. Oh yeah, no. Adam Schiff has been working against MAGA for sure. I don't think this conversation happened. There's an interview with it? No. All right, hold on. Now I gotta find this. I have to find this. This isn't real. There's no way. Hold up. Adam Schiff interview with Canadian firefighter. There's no way. This is a plant. Adam Schiff discusses Easton fire. No. Congress slams U.S. Forest Service. Adam Schiff caught in false claims about wildfire on TV and gets called out. That's the American Tribute. Congressman discusses the fires, station fire. Oh, wrong button. Do you know what the interview was called or where it was?
And I said, no, you don't have to worry about that crazy idea, that demeaning idea. But I want to tell you just how grateful I am.
Well, I guess he was wrong, because that is definitely a concern and is still an ongoing concern. And it's a concern for a lot of... So, did you just say that to be comforting to this guy that you had this conversation with? Because this is still a very large concern. The only person who's done anything about Trump's rhetoric so far about Canada's sovereignty is Mark Carney, our Prime Minister. I heard about this question while watching the interview with someone expressing concern about the 51st stuff. While watching the interview. An Adam Schiff interview? I mean, I don't know, this story sounds sussy to me. Anyway, I don't understand why you would say no, you don't need to worry about any of that. Like, unless you were trying to... Here's the thing. I can understand why you would answer that way in the scenario as it's presented, right? In the story that he's telling, I can understand why you would answer somebody that way. But I don't know why in April of 2025 now, this is January, February, March, April, right? Why, when you're telling the story and you're talking to Canadians, that you're trying to... Why are you trying to placate Canadians about their concerns about Donald Trump? And Donald Trump's rhetoric? I don't know why are you... Why? We have every right to be concerned, and we have every right to be angry, and we should continue to be upset and concerned and angry until you stop doing these things, until these things and these problems go away. And part of the problem is that as long as Donald Trump is president, it will be very, very prevalent in everybody's minds. And we shouldn't just ignore it and brush it aside. One of the reasons why America is suffering from Donald Trump is because they ignored him and brushed him aside and didn't take what he was saying seriously. And then on the other hand, a lot of these problems aren't going to go away just because Donald Trump is out of office. Oh yeah, no, Landon, you're good. I know you're not defending him. I asked. I asked you for the context. So, no. You're good. The problems don't go away when Donald Trump goes away. Donald Trump is is a partial culmination of the problems that exist in the system, right? The system has not done its job the way it's supposed to do its job, so you have Donald Trump. If the system was working the way it should be working, then you shouldn't have a Donald Trump. But the system in America is not. So even when Donald Trump is gone, there's no reason for Canadians to think that you're not just going to get another one or get somebody worse than Donald Trump. You know what I mean? Somebody smarter, somebody who actually is more like a Putin, who wants to actually, like, take over the continent. Right? So even if Donald Trump is gone, unless there is serious political reform in America, Canadians will continue to be concerned about this forever. This is now something that is in the mind of Canadians, and it will live there unless and until there is a large change, and then long-standing... we're talking like 100 years. We're talking like it's going to take 150 years under a new system, under a new political structure that ensures that this type of shit's not going to happen again, and then proves that this type of shit isn't going to happen again over and over and over and over again before Canadians are even going to get close to fucking to not being concerned that this is a thing. Canadians weren't concerned that this was a thing until you did it. And now it's like, well, and you got your free pass. You got Donald Trump in 2016 when he started trying to do the same shit. And you got your free pass, and we were like, okay, well, he's gone. So, but now you're going to tell us, you're going to sell us the same fucking horseshit again, and be like, well, Donald Trump will be out of office. And once he's out of office, all this goes away, and we don't have to worry about it anymore. Oh, whoops, we voted in Donald Trump again. Oh, whoops. Yeah, don't worry about that 51st state thing. That's never going to happen. Just don't worry. You're silly. Just pat you on the head. It's fine. No, fuck you. No, Canadians are angry. Canadians should be angry. And Canadians should have every right to fucking defend themselves. And trying to placate them with bullshit that was the same bullshit you said in 2016. There's nothing stopping you from getting another Trump. Even if you're like, oh, well, he can't run again, even though he's going to try to circumvent that, like he's been circumventing a lot of things. Even if you succeed in not allowing Donald Trump to run for a third term by whatever means that is, whether he fucking dies of a heart attack or whether he's legally stopped from running again or whatever. That's not the problem. There is nothing stopping somebody equally as fascist from doing the same thing and somebody who is smarter doing it and becoming a greater, less obvious threat. So yeah, patting Canadian. This is a message to Canada. Thank you, Canada, for insulin. Thank you, Canada, for basketball. Thank you, Canada, for fighting in some wars we were in. We really appreciate that you fought in our wars like World War I and World War II, even though we joined World War II super duper late. Thank you, Canada, as I completely misunderstand and misrepresent your history. But don't worry about the 51st state stuff.
That your brave firefighters were willing to come down and battle those blazes, and I know I speak for everyone in Southern California, if not all of California, when I say that. Now, I know that your Prime Minister has recently said that the relationship between the United States and Canada is over. And it pained me to hear those words, even as I understood the anger behind them. But
Aw, it hurt his feelings.
Southern California, if not all of California, when I say that. Now, I know that your Prime Minister has recently said that the relationship between the United States and Canada is over. And it pained me to hear those words, even as I understood the anger behind them. But I
think you might be incredibly foolish if you think what's behind it is anger. We're not saying these things because we're mad. We're saying these things because we're smart. We're saying these things because we recognize an abusive fucking relationship when we see one. It's not a... Yes, Canadians are mad, and yes, Canadians have every right to be mad, but we're not saying things out of anger that we're just gonna take back later. The things that Carney is saying right now, and the way Canadians are feeling right now, are calculated. It's not rhetoric. The same way the 51st state shit wasn't just rhetoric. Canada is saying that because even if America tries to go backwards, there has been damage that is not going to be rectified, and there are agreements that are not being met. Illegally so. The trust is broken. Period. End of sentence. And you can't have a relationship like we have had between Canada and America without that trust. And so because that trust no longer exists, the relationships as they were, they're done. And like I said, you're talking about 150 years in a changed political structure, showing that this political structure actually functions to even begin to regain that trust. Quoting John F. Kennedy about not one man being able to tear it apart, Trump isn't one man doing this. It's your entire fucking system doing it. It is your whole ass government. And a large portion of your country's people. It's not that we're saying things out of anger, that we're just like, oh, well, we were just angry, and so well, it's fine. Trump's gone, they took it back. Yeah, no, our relationship can just go back to what it... No, you're not getting it. You're not understanding. This video is incredibly tone deaf.
Hope and have confidence that our relationship is not over, even though it will take time to mend. And I say that because one thing I know about my Canadian friends, and that is through thick and thin, you are the best of neighbors.
Bitch! So what? So what do you mean? What are you saying? We know that through thick and thin, you're just gonna roll over and forgive us anyway and let us keep doing whatever we're gonna do. No, that's not how it fucking works, dude. He seems to be equating the relationship as it is now being over to saying that Canada's never gonna send firefighters to California ever again. Of course we would send firefighters to California again in an emergency, because we're nice guys and we're really great neighbors. But that doesn't mean we're gonna keep selling you oil at a discounted price. Which is what we do. Good God. Unbelievable. Oh, he keeps going. Good.
Hey everybody, so I started to make these nightly videos because I kept hearing from people with...
Oh no, he's gonna say like and subscribe. No, please, no.
Everything going on, it'd be nice to have some explanation at the end of the day that helps make sense of it all. So that's what I've tried to do, but I would love your feedback, and if you'd like to continue the conversation, please join along. But let me know, are there subjects you want me to cover? Are there movie clips you want me to include? As you can tell, I'm a movie fan, but I hope we'll get to continue the conversation and welcome your feedback.
Okay, thank God he didn't say like and subscribe. At least he didn't say like and subscribe. That was bad. That was really bad. I can appreciate like the idea of having like a congressperson or having like a senator come on to like an accessible place like a YouTube channel and chat and be chill about stuff. Like, I'm fine with that. I don't have a problem with that. I also understand that Adam Schiff is in the I mean, they're not even anti-Trump. He's been fighting against like this MAGA situation, and he is certainly not on the Republican side. Don't talk to us. Don't. Just stop it. This is really bad. That was really bad. It was really bad. It was really tone deaf. It didn't seem to have any actual understanding of where Canadians are coming from. Like, you know the difference between when somebody is trying to have a conversation with you and then when somebody just wants to talk to you so that way you'll just do whatever they want you to do? That's what that felt like. That was real bad. I'm gonna refill my tea real quick. That was... I don't know any Canadian that I could show that to, and their response wouldn't be, "Oh, fuck off," and would have stopped watching the video within 2 minutes. I think every Canadian that if I were to pull that up and show that to them, they would respond with "fuck off" with it and stop the video within 2 minutes, if not shorter. God. And not talking to you, it's talking at you. Yeah, that's what it feels like. It feels like he's trying to talk at Canada to be like, oh, please be our friends. We're gonna keep punching you in the face, but please be our friends. And it's like, it's not really that much different than the Republicans coming out and being like, we're gonna tariff you, don't retaliate. Fucking what? Or what? Oh, I'm gonna raise the tariffs again. Okay. It's stupid. This is stupid. This whole thing is fucking stupid. And everybody knows it's stupid, and we're all dealing with it anyway, because guess what? We gotta deal with stupid, because it doesn't just go away. Like, what are you gonna do to put things back? Is America and the American people and Adam Schiff to repair the damage done to Canada and Canadians going to give us all a bunch of money? Like, is Adam Schiff gonna out of pocket pay for the businesses that are, and the lost amount of money, and the family trips that people aren't taking? How's he gonna give that back? What about the Canadian woman who was detained for a bunch of time in horrible conditions? What about her? Is she gonna get compensation from the American government? Like, real solutions. He's saying these things. Okay, what are your real solutions? Are you going to compensate Canada for profit loss through these tariffs and what's gone on? No, of course that's not what you're gonna do. Are you gonna give us Minnesota to make up for it? What are you gonna do? Okay, guess what? Not having Trump again isn't doing us a favor, asshole. He's acting like he's doing us a favor, and I'm like, bro, please, no, stop it. Good God, that was so bad. No wonder the Democrats are fucking having such a bad time in America. That's the way they all talk to everybody. Holy shit. Please give Minnesota to Canada. I would rather, I would take Minnesota. I like if I was gonna pick a state and I was like, Canada's gonna take over that state, I'd probably pick Minnesota. Minnesota or Michigan. It'd be one of those two. I'd have to look at a map. I'm bad at geography. I don't remember where everybody is all the time. I'd probably take either Minnesota or Michigan. I still think that if America really wanted to do things right, they should. I think that America should turn over management of the Great Lakes to Canada. Because you guys suck at it. You should just let us do it. Because you bads. Hey, listen, the water's only bad because you guys suck at it. Minnesota. Yeah, we can take on Anaheim. We can take on the Mighty Ducks. Quack, 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 quack. Good God. Like, listen, America is just really not very good at resource management when it comes to making money and being sustainable and being like ecologically. I'm not even talking about climate change. I'm talking about like a local ecosystem of being ecologically cognizant of areas and not like damaging them to non-repair. I'm looking at you, Flint. You think that Canada wouldn't have fixed Flint, Michigan by now? Like, Flint, Michigan is still fucked. Like, it's still fucked. What year was that? What year did that fucking start? What year did that blow up? Hold on. Flint, Michigan. Hold on. Flint, Michigan water crisis. When did that start? Shut up. This is an article from 2024. 2014! It's been a decade! Are you kidding me? It's been 10 years? It's 2025 now! It's been 11 years! Good God. 18 months before. Hold on. Because inadequate treatment and testing of the water resulted in a series of major water quality and health issues for Flint residents. Issues that were chronically ignored, overlooked and discounted by government officials, even as complaints mounted that the foul-smelling, discolored, and off-tasting water piped into Flint, Michigan homes for 18 months. 18 months! It was ignored for over a year before it was even addressed. Good fucking Lord. Alright, and where's it at now? Like 2011. Good God. Where's it at now? What's currently going on? Hold on, I need an article from like a recent article. Let's see, 2025. Where are we at in 2025? Continues to evolve. As of January 8th, 2025, a total of 27,581 claims have been approved for compensation. Oh, yippee. But are you fixing the water? I get that you're doing a payout, but does the what does Wikipedia say? Have you actually fixed the water? From 2014 to 2019. Fucking Lake Huron and the Detroit River. Yeah, that's what I fucking thought. And blah 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 blah. Drinking lead. Blah 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 blah. Extensive blah blah blah. This was January 2019. Residents and officials expressed doubt about the cleanliness of the water. 2,500 lead service pipes still in place as of April 2019. December 2020, fewer than 500 service lines still need to be... 500 still needed to be inspected? Good God. Excavated and inspected, resulting in the replacement of 10,000 plus lead pipes. Okay, Flint has secured a clean water source, distributed filters to all who want them, and laid modern, safe copper pipes to nearly every home to the city. Just as good as any cities in Michigan. However, a legacy of distrust remains, and many residents still refuse to drink the tap water. In 2023, Status Quo journalist Jordan Chariton interviewed a black woman whose children... Let me show you. Whose children became sick due to the tainted water. Both her children died over the next couple of years due to the exposure. In 2024, they published a book on the crisis. We the Poison, exposing the Flint water crisis cover-up and the poisoning of 100,000 Americans. Also in April 2024, they did broadcast a documentary on the lingering aftermath of the crisis 20 years later. And here's a timeline. And, like, don't get me wrong, we're not perfect either. We have a really big problem with Nestle that needs to be fucking dealt with. We should just ban them from the country, quite frankly. Fuck those people. Here we go. August of 2024. Water testing shows a significant drop in lead in drinking water. I mean, that's still not great, guys. Like, a significant drop from all the lead could still mean half of the amount of all of the lead, which is still too much lead. Oh. The city of Flint was held in contempt of court for their failure to meet the court-ordered deadlines regarding replacement of water lines and the subsequent requirement to repair property damage to sidewalks, curbs, and driveways caused by the work. On March 13th, 2024, an article published in the journal Science Advances reported finding several different measurable detrimental effects of the city's water crisis on the children of Flint's mental health and school performance. Let us manage the lakes, guys. let Canada manage the lakes. You guys fucking suck. You guys are bad at this. Alright, I'm gonna take a quick break and then we'll go into reading this. I'll be back in a moment. That's the wrong one. There you go. You know, one of the best things about brewing tea is that it gives you a second to think. And I think the word for my conclusion on Adam Schiff's video talking to Canadians is the audacity. The audacity of this American politician to think that he gets to tell Canadians how they feel, how they should feel, what they're going to do in the future, and that they're just being emotional. You're just mad right now. But and then using our identity as being a good neighbor and being just generally friendly people as an excuse to abuse, or a way to abuse us. To just be like, oh yeah, but you know, our relationship's not over. You're our neighbor. You love us. So you wouldn't. You're just gonna let whatever happens, you're just gonna weather whatever Donald Trump does, and then we're just gonna go back to having whatever great relationship we had before. And it's like, no. Fuck you. The audacity. Like, who does this fucking wimpy water need fucking, like, where are you in your own country? Donald Trump is you. It's a you problem. Are you standing up and filibustering for fucking 25 hours? Are you proposing things? Are you putting those things forward? Why are you thinking you have anything to say to us right now? The answer is you don't. Get in your own lane. Go fix it. Then maybe we'll fucking give a shit about what you have to say. It's just the audacity. The absolute audacity. The Lion, the Witch, and the audacity of this bitch. Like, It's rude. It's ignorant. It's cruel to a degree. Like, it's not... Clean your own house before you tell us what... You know what? It's this. It's this. It's this. Let me just play this for you. Oh, the audio didn't play. Hold on.
Come to my home uninvited and tell me how I should arrange my furniture. What a fool you are! Skeleton divine death.
Yeah, get out of here. Who do you think you are telling us how to run our shit? Look at your own fucking backyard. You're gonna tell me how I need to fucking get out of here. Don't fucking tell me what to do. Chaotic neutral. Don't tell me what to do. Alright. I have polls. You guys want to see the polls? This is the most recent poll. Obligatory reminder that polls are not voting, so still go out and vote, and these polls don't mean anything if you don't show up. So right now, this is from a couple of hours ago, it got posted. If I make this a little bit bigger. There we go. Ta-da! Ta-da! So as you can see, that's the Atlantic. That's Atlantic Canada, Ontario, BC, Quebec. So Ontario, British Columbia, Quebec, Manitoba, and Saskatchewan, and Alberta. And I'm seeing more of this now, where Alberta is being separated out from Manitoba and Saskatchewan. Look at how big these numbers are. Like, this number used to look a lot smaller because they put them together. But now, like, there's a swing in Manitoba and Saskatchewan that is the Conservatives losing ground. And Alberta is, remember last week when we were looking at the other poll, now the polls are gonna be shifty around, so like it's not 1-to-1, and like depending on who they're asking, where they're asking, yada 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 yada. But the other one we were looking at had Alberta at like a 24. So if Alberta's actually shifting to the right also, that's huge. That's huge. The NDP has lost a lot, but they're kind of holding strong in, like, they hit their core base, I guess, that are people are gonna vote NDP no matter what. That's huge. If this in Ontario dips below 30%, That's gonna be scary for the conservatives. Is the red good in this case? The red is our liberal. That's our left is red. Our further left is this orangey yellow color. So the liberals, so our Democrats, but they're really not, because your Democrats are whatever. Our left is red. Our right is blue. So we got them opposites. This is the block. Look at the block. God damn. Low-key love those guys. Gotta say. But yeah, 55 to 33, 49 to 38, 43 to 39, 43 to 24, 35 to 49, and 31 to 55. Yes. Yeah. The colors are opposite. So our right wing is blue, our left wing is red, your right wing is red, and your left wing doesn't exist, but your less right is blue. We want to see red here. We want this to be as red as possible right now. Our Democrats are basically your blue on this chart. A little bit. Except for a handful of extremists, yes. So it's I don't know. I think this poll is interesting. But this is going to be this is a sweep. So for anybody who is new and doesn't know, the way our voting system works is you vote for your riding, and then that gives you a seat. The people with the most seats get representation, that seat represents them, and then the group with the most seats has the prime minister's position. So the number of seats you need, I believe, for a majority government is 175. You need 175 seats. And so you'll notice that this almost seems pretty even, right? Like 37 to 44, right? Like that seems pretty close, right? It's a 20-point lead, but it's pretty close percentage-wise. But if you look at like down here, like this is pretty high, right? 31 to 55, 55 to 33. This is almost like the same number. Like, you see what I'm saying? And so, and like the way it kind of balances out, there's only like a couple of points here, and here. However, right? Because we don't have ranked choice voting, because the Conservative Party blocked any kind of voting reform while the Liberals were in power last time when they tried to bring it forward, Trudeau tried to bring it forward, because it got blocked by the Conservatives are now getting fucked. Because Manitoba, Saskatchewan, and Alberta do not hold as many seats as Ontario, for example. So because there's so many seats in Ontario, having this large of a lead in Ontario is giving the Liberal Party more seats, which means they're going to be in power in the government. So no matter this could nearly be, because the lead here is so big, even if both Manitoba, Saskatchewan, and Alberta, if all three of them went full blue and won all of their seats, they would not have enough seats, because these areas just aren't going to have enough combined to outweigh this combined, right? So if you add all these together and add all these two together, it's not going to be enough. For anybody who doesn't know, Atlantic Canada is like Nova Scotia, PEI, Labrador, New Brunswick. So I believe Ontario has the most seats overall, but if they got like New Brunswick and Nova Scotia, and then got Alberta and Saskatchewan and Manitoba, they got like if you got the prairies and the Atlantic, you would have enough. But they're not going to have enough with Manitoba. And here's the thing is that Manitoba's already, this lead isn't enough in Manitoba. They need more than this. And Alberta alone won't give you enough seats. Surprise, surprise. basically the U.S. dynamic of the coastal states versus the middle states. Then kind of, it's kind of that's a good. It's not totally 1-to-1, but yeah. So yeah, Newfoundland as well. So there's like, we'll see. I mean, we'll see. But yeah, remember to go vote. Early voting might have already started, actually. You might actually already be able to vote. If not, early voting will definitely be next week. So you should have gotten your voter card. If you're Canadian, you should have gotten your voter card in the mail, which means you can do your mail-in vote. You can always just call. If you have any questions, you can call Elections Canada. They will walk you through if you're somebody with a disability or you don't know if you can get to, like you have some kind of physical disability or you don't have a way to get to a voting station. They will help set you up and arrange to help you get there. Because in Canada, we go out of our way to make sure the people can vote. So just give them a call, email them, Elections Canada, just Google Elections Canada. You'll find them. They'll help you out. But yeah, that's the recent polling. Plus 50 for Carney right now for preferred prime minister. 50% plus 1. Polyev is 34, -1. Singh -4 to stay even. Blanchett is 2, -1. Bernier is 2 plus 1. May is 1 for -1. Unsure 4%. Yeah. 44 to 38. 44 36. 44 42. 44 35. This one's from yesterday. Here's yesterday's. It seems like it's tapered off and gotten pretty even. This is probably what, unless something big happens, this is probably what we're gonna see. I will point out that Mark Carney has had to stop his campaign 3 times so far to, deal with Trump and whatever the fuck's going on there. So there has been 3 times where he's actually had to stop his campaign to go do prime minister things. So you can take that as you will. You could take that as America purposefully fucking with Canadians' elections, which I don't think is probably what's happening, but I think somebody who's, like, cynical enough could reasonably say something like that. We already know that the Conservatives have gone out of their way to ask Trump and his team to interfere, so take that as you will. I'm certainly not willing to give them the benefit of the doubt. But yeah, let's read more of this. We're on page, 28, right? So this is the Conservative Party of Canada policy declaration for September 9th, 2023, right? So we were on page, 20-something or another. Copyright. Oh, yeah. Atlantic sovereignty. Yeah. Mining. ABC. Yeah. Trade. Interprovincial trade. Transportation. We covered that. Environment. Oh, I remember getting really irritated at oh, right. We were at the aquifer mapping and the Great Lakes. Contaminated sites. Yeah, here we go. Aquative invasive species. Because I stopped at contaminated sites because this was really, really bad. So I'll just read this one out one more time because it was really, really bad. Conservative Party supports initiatives to provide stable long-term funding for the cleanup of contaminated sites in cooperation with the provinces, territories, and municipalities. We believe that the government should continue to remove roadblocks that discourage the private sector from cleaning and developing contaminated land. Amend the income tax to allow remediation expenses to be treated as deductible expenses. Introduce legislation to terminate regulatory liability upon insurance of regulatory approval of remediation to encourage development of brownfields reversible only in emergency and in case of fraud. Create an insurance fund for post-liability insurance claims. This will permit the qualification and spreading of development risk through insurance, reinsurance, and diversification of ownership, and provide economic incentives to the private sector to clean up contaminated lands. So this is, let's give a bunch of money and tax cuts to developers who damage land and then rebuild on it and then damage it and then rebuild it and yada, 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 yada. This is bad. This is really bad. aquatic invasive species. The Conservative Party believes the government should, in cooperation with local, provincial, and international governments, make mandatory the existing voluntary guidelines for ballast water management practices and enforce compliance for all ships carrying ballast water. We believe the government should ensure all ships plying Canadian waters built after a set date have a proper ballast water treatment technology and implement economic incentives. This will see ship owners and operators rewarded for improved ballast water treatment practices. Such measures will address the introduction of and spread of aquatic alien invasive species that severely impair biological integrity and threaten the economies of water-dependent communities in Canada. They will also alleviate the cost for treatment, containment, and control of these invasive species, which are massive and generally borne by local communities rather than industries that contribute to the problem. So you want to implement economic incentives, i.e. give money to industries so they will stop causing the problems that are usually fixed and dealt with by local communities. Sorry, quantification, thank you. Yeah, I just do not see how this would help. Every time we've done this, it doesn't work. Every time we try to incentivize or give money to a major corporation to fix a problem, they make the problem worse. Because, like, you without the regulation and holding them accountable. Here's the thing. I don't think you need to incentivize businesses to do business. They're already doing business. They already saw a value in doing the business in that place or for that thing. So I don't think you need to incentivize that very much. Sure, you can do a little bit, but I really don't think you need to do a whole ton. Specifically with the types of resources and the amount of resources that Canada has, we're already attractive. You know what I mean? Like, you already look good, hon. You don't need to cake it on. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to like wanting to create incentives, where you want to invest that money is the local level. Because the local level is going to be the people who are aware of the issues, will recognize the issues faster, and have better ideas about how to fix and what the necessary things are for their area. Right? They are the experts of their own spaces. Right? So if you incentivize them and have them doing the work and listen to them, you're going to end up with a lot better results faster. So I just don't see the need to do so. Like I don't see any need to incentivize companies to need water. You know what I mean? Like I don't see any need to incentivize. Like it's the same thing with up here. Like you shouldn't need to incentivize a company to not spill fucking oil everywhere. What you should do is incentivize them via regulations and be like, if you fuck this up, you're paying for the cleanup, period, end of sentence. So don't fuck it up. Illegal oil dumping. The Conservative Party believes in the following initiatives: expanded oil dumping detection, prohibitions to prevent ships from entering sensitive sea areas. Okay. Legislation requiring ship operators to account for their ship's waste. Okay. Incentives to dump waste at our port facilities, not in our waters. Okay. Yeah, I think that's fine. We support increased fines for illegal oil dumping, a practice that kills hundreds of thousands of seabirds every year along with Canada's coastlines. Ship operators caught illegally dumping oil should face criminal charges and be prevented from plying Canadian waters. Okay, you know what? I'm fine with that. That makes sense to me. Healthcare. Oh yes, the Conservatives and their healthcare options. The Conservative Party believes all Canadians should have reasonable... Again, we're back to reasonable. What is reasonable? Remember at the beginning when we read this and they said, oh, Canadians should have reasonable access to timely, quality healthcare services regardless of their ability to pay. All right, what does reasonable mean? What is unreasonable? The provinces and territories should have maximum flexibility to ensure the delivery of medically necessary health services within a universal public healthcare system. So you don't want to privatize healthcare? We support adding a sixth principle to the Canada Health Act to provide stable and transparent federal funding. The government should work with the provinces in a cooperative and constructive manner. That doesn't mean anything. Conservative Party supports amending the Canada Health Act to recognize palliative care as a separate and distinct right for all Canadians. Why would you separate it from why would you move that out of healthcare? Why would you move it out? What's the value of that? Flexibility for the provinces and territories in the implementation of healthcare services should include a balance of public and private delivery options. It already does. It already does that. But they said they didn't want it to be private. The government should work with the provinces and territories in the development of national quality indicators and objectives. The government should work with the provinces and territories and professional medical groups to increase the supply of healthcare professionals where shortages exist. Well, congratulations, because we've got a ton of American doctors who are like, help us, please. Let us work for you. So hey, if you're working as a nurse or you're a doctor and you want to get out of America, apply to Canada. Give us a call. Call up call up our Canadian immigration offices. The Conservative Party supports conscious rights for doctors, nurses, and others to refuse to participate in or refer their patients for abortion-assisted suicide or euthanasia. What? Then don't be a doctor and don't be a nurse. If you're not willing to give people fucking care, then because of a personal belief, then don't work in the medical field. Find a new career. That's not your job. If you don't want to do that, then you ought not be working in the medical field. Period. End of sentence. This is the same argument as we didn't want to do a blood transfusion. We didn't want to vaccinate our kids, so we let them die because we don't believe in vaccines. This is the same fucking thing. Your doctor should not and does not have the right to refuse you care because they hold a personal belief. Period. End of sentence. Because it's the job. They're allowed to have that belief. They're allowed to think those things, but they are not allowed to refuse you care based on those things. The same reason why you're not allowed to refuse care of a person because they're gay. That's not how it works. Find a new career if you don't like it. Do something else with your time. So absolutely fucking not. In no fucking way, shape, or form is this even remotely fucking reasonable. And to pretend that it is absurd. The government should work with provinces and territories and professional medical groups to develop a national palliative care strategy and adopt appropriate legislation to provide timely and equitable access across Canada to palliative care, which affirms life, regards dying as a normal process, and excludes euthanasia and assisted suicide. That's why they want to take it out and treat it as something else. They don't think these things they don't think you have a right to care. They don't think you have a right to proper medical care and practice. Yes, assisted suicide is dark and hard to talk about. But it's medical care. It's within the medical field of practice. It makes you uncomfortable? Go, well, you're not the one making the decision. Butt out. It's none of your business. Go touch grass. And one other thing. Your personal belief doesn't get to dictate what other people choose to do or limit other people's choices. You're allowed to have whatever beliefs you want, and you're allowed to not get an abortion if you don't want one. You're allowed to not participate in an assisted suicide if you don't want to. But that doesn't mean you get to tell other people what they get to do with their bodies. You're allowed to believe what you want. Mind your own fucking business. Medicare audit. The Conservative Party supports the concept of... The Conservative Party supports the concept of a social audit under the existing office of the chief actuary to help Canadians and their government determine how well their Medicare is working. The audit would include actuarial advice on program design and healthcare financing issues. Let's just talk to the professionals instead. How about we just listen to the professionals? What is this? What is this? This is so vague. You're gonna ask Joe Schmo down the road if he had a long wait time at the hospital? Like, yeah, and like the issue with that is the amount of service and how much we're paying our medical workers. Not because our system is bad. This is a misunderstanding. When you don't fund something, it doesn't do well, and then you use the fact that it's not doing well as an excuse to defund it. It's circular reasoning, right? So it's like, oh, our medical care system is broken because you're not getting timely and reasonable stuff, but you're not getting timely and reasonable stuff, not because the system doesn't work, but because the system doesn't have any funding. It's being chokehold. It's getting cucked. So put the money into it and see if it works. Go ask somebody. Go find an older person in your life who has kids and ask them what services they got when they had that kid. Go find somebody in their 60s and 70s and ask them, like, if they had a kid, ask them what that experience was like and what they got at the hospital. If they got a private room, what their care was like, how quickly they got in, did they get any, like, aftercare things at the hospital? What did they get? Did the government send them, like, a care package or anything like that? Ask. And then go and check to see what the policies were at the time. Go ahead. And then check and see when the policies changed. Go on. Go see what it is. I dare you. Do your own research. Wellness promotion. Conservative Party recognizes the importance of wellness promotion and disease prevention in enhancing the health of Canadians and contributing to the sustainability of our healthcare system. Okay. And... What? I would like to point out real quick, by the way, that Polyev has gone out to say that there are only two genders and he's never heard of any other genders. Protecting at-risk workers. Conservative Party believes the government should work with provinces and territories to get a nationwide agreement to amend labor codes to provide at-risk workers such as prison guards, law enforcement officials, and healthcare workers and their physicians or other medical professionals the right to know when they have been exposed to infectious disease. This right should transcend the privacy rights of the infected individual and should be analogous to workers' rights with respect to hazardous material exposure. You're gonna treat people with AIDS like they're hazardous material? You think that cops doing a routine fucking traffic stop deserve to know your medical history? No! Fuck you! Absolutely fucking not. Motherfucker, in no way. No. Absolutely fucking not. Absolutely not. No. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you very, very much. Health, science, research, development, and innovation. Why do you think you should, like, the cops should just get your private information? Fuck the police. Health, science, research, development, and innovation. The Conservative Party recognizes the importance of health, science. I don't, like, a healthcare professional doesn't even deserve to know where I live. Conservative Party recognizes the importance of health science research in enhancing the health of Canadians and as a dynamic economic sector in its own right. We encourage all governments to foster an environment that encourages health science research and development of new health care technologies, which in part can be achieved through the provision of an adequate level of federal funding. We believe... adequate level of federal funding. That stuff that they already said they wanted to cut. We believe the government should support projects which would reduce waiting lists, improve the quality of care, and ensure better coordination and information sharing in the delivery of healthcare. You know how you fix that? Adequate funding. You know what they don't have? Adequate funding. Go to your local hospital and ask the service desk person if they're not too busy. Don't be a dick. And be like, hey, what out of like 3 or 4 things, what do you think your hospital needs more of? And how do you get it? The answer is going to be more funding. A conservative government should, in consultation with the provinces and territories, be open to the implementation of new advances so that all Canadians can benefit from a modern, effective, and sustainable health system tailored to meet their needs. We already have that. Pharmaceuticals. The Conservative Party believes that Canada's pharmaceutical legislation must strike a balance between encouraging the development of new drugs and ensuring that those drugs are available to Canadians at affordable prices. Okay, but in a recent speech, Poilievre said that he wants to sue the pharmaceutical companies that make fentanyl. So how is that going to encourage the development of new drugs? If there's a risk that later down the line, they're going to get sued by governments because people are misusing those drugs because we don't have adequate healthcare for addiction and mental health and other systems of treatment because we're not putting enough funding into our medical care and our mental health care. Because we just decided to give our medical records to the police. Like, what are you talking about? This is fucking psychotic. Like, again, any one of these things in a bubble might be okay, but or might, like, not be the most problematic thing, but as soon as you start putting all of these things on top of the other, we're on 83, and you put in a lack of you say, we're gonna cut all the grants as much as possible, we're gonna cut all the funding, we're gonna cut all the taxes, then we're going to sue and police state people's medical records, and we're gonna sue pharmaceutical companies because we cut all the funding, and like the fentanyl problem is only gonna get worse if you don't get people care. So the care, by the way, that Poilievre calls drug dens, right? Like that's what he calls the safe injection sites, which are statistically and in a community good, like have been a net good, that have worked. Alright. We believe that part of this balance is achieved through adhering to an international standard of 20 years patent protection for pharmaceuticals. Patents. What was that we were just covering about insulin and patents? Fuck off. Fuck you. If we are giving our taxpayer money to companies and private companies or anybody to develop, care, and cure, we the people should benefit from our investment. Period. Tell you what, if it gets developed in Canada, Canadians get it for free, and we can sell it to other countries because Canada first. That's the American way, right? We'll charge everybody else out the ass for it. No? Does that seem unfair? Does that seem unreasonable? It does seem unfair and unreasonable. I'm sure America wouldn't like it if they weren't the ones benefiting from charging their people a shitload for insulin and it was just going to Canadians. We believe people should not lose their life savings because of unexpected health problems or the result of the cost of prescription drugs. We support faster processing of drug approvals without compromising patient safety. Okay, how? How are you going to do that faster? We support domestic research, development, and production of vaccines using a variety of traditional and new technologies, including options for vaccines that do not violate religious beliefs or ethical values of Canadians. What are those? What are those options that don't violate that? I'm curious to know. We affirm Canadians have the freedom and rights to refuse vaccine for moral, religious, medical, or other reasons. So recently, a couple years ago, I think it was before COVID. In the before times, there was a push to remove religious reasons for not getting vaccines. You had to have another reason. They wanted to they were basically pushing for the only reason for you to not get a vaccine was if you had a pre-existing condition. Because they were deciding that a religious belief wasn't a good enough reason to let your kid die of the measles, basically. Because that's considered child abuse. So there's that. I don't know where that's at right now, though. I also don't know if it was a federal thing or a provincial thing. I'd have to look it up, but, you know. They're not telling you how they're gonna do it. They're only supportive. It's much easier to cheer a marathon runner on than actually help them in any meaningful way. Yeah, you're right. Natural health products. The Conservative Party supports enhanced freedom for Canadians and their choice of natural health products and complementary treatments with proper safeguards for public safety. Take your medication. Fuck. Assisted human reproduction and related research. The Conservative Party recognizes the need for federal regulation in assisted human reproduction and related research. This field should be governed by principles that respect human individuality, integrity, dignity, and life. In recognition of the ethical and scientific concerns around research using human embryos, we support an initial 3-year prohibition on embryonic research. Why? And a call on the federal government to encourage its granting agencies to focus on more promising adult postnatal stem cell research. How about we listen to the scientists? How about we acknowledge that there is an entire fucking field of study about the ethics and there are ethic boards that make these determinations and have these discussions on a regular basis, and that an embryo isn't a fucking person yet. And that clump of cells isn't a person yet. So how about maybe fuck off? How about also we can, like, make those in a lab? Like, what do they think is going on? What do they think is happening? Do they think that, like, all of the research cells that are coming from this are coming from abortions? 'Cause they're definitely not. That's definitely not what's happening. That's funny. That's very funny. This is funny. Sorry, this one just makes me laugh because it's just stupid. Like, how long have we been doing this research for? I mean, I guess, to be fair, doing something for a really long time doesn't mean it's ethically okay, right? But what's the ethical argument being discussed here? Among scientists, right? Like, what scientists are bringing forward ethical science, like, ethical concerns about the science? What are those concerns? Because the only concern I've heard of when it comes to this kind of shit is some fucking crazy lady with a sign and a blowhorn outside of an abortion clinic. Saying that, like, Pizzagate shit. They're taking our embryos and they're taking stem cells and eating babies to keep themselves young because they're lizard people. Like, that's the fucking thing we're talking... IVF also ends up destroying zygotes. Yeah, that's 100% what they're talking about. They're definitely talking about IVF. 100%. Not every pregnancy is viable, dude. I don't know what to tell you. You don't like that biology is sticky? You don't like that life is hard and not everything and everyone survives and lives life the exact same fucking cookie cutter way? Abortion legislation. A conservative government will not support any legislation to regulate abortion. You don't get to say that after you already said that you wanted... Hold on, let me pull that up, because that was a couple of days ago now. Let me go scroll back up here real quick. Where is it? It was pretty early on, right, that they brought this up? Did they just forget what they wrote? Let's see. Taxes... hold on. Let me just... There's a faster way for me to do this. The Conservative Party believes in restoring democratic accountability to the House of Commons by allowing free votes. All votes should be free except for the budget, main estimates, and core government initiatives. On issues of moral conscience, such as abortion, the definition of marriage, and euthanasia, the Conservative Party acknowledges the diversity of deeply held personal convictions among individual party members, and the right of members of parliament to adopt positions in consultation with their constituents and to vote freely. That is bringing abortion back up for debate and saying that the parliament and the members get to do whatever the fuck they want regardless of their constituents, and talking about individual beliefs rather than the good of the health of the nation. So you don't get to say, we don't support any legislation to regulate abortion. But the answer is you want to regulate it out of existence. Yeah, so they're fine with unregulated abortion? Yeah, because unregulated abortion would be no abortion. As far as they think. What it actually is it's unregulated abortion, meaning abortions are happening in back alleys again and with coat hangers. Because the Conservative Party doesn't like women. Surprise! I hope I'm not breaking anybody's balls here. The Conservative Party doesn't like women. In principle, the Conservative Party opposes euthanasia and assisted suicide. Well, too bad for you. I don't need help. I'm gonna go step in front of a train and make myself into a fine pink mist. And make myself everyone else's problem. Good God. You do know, like, assisted suicide, the whole point is to prevent suicides and get people the help that they need or want? I don't like women either. Looks in mirror with self-loathing. Furthermore, we oppose the extension of euthanasia and assisted suicide to minors. Okay, so this has come up a couple of times, right? Because I've brought this up, and then a bunch of Americans all freaked out, and they got mad at me because they thought that, like, I was like murder 3-year-olds, right? Because my answer was, why stop at 3? Like, if you're gonna have assisted suicide, what justifies putting an age on it, an age cap, one way or the other? Right? What's your justification? Is there justification that you've lived long enough? Like, that doesn't make any sense. You live long enough, we're gonna let you die now. We'll let you decide to kill yourself. I feel like it ought to be a human right to decide when you die. Like, if you have the option. Like, you should at least, if you have control over anything in your life, it should be whether or not you live or die today, outside of extenuating circumstances, you know what I mean? But, with that, comes access to healthcare and medication and therapy and mental health professionals and professionals that can give you all of the options and be like, all right, we could try this, we could try this, we could try this. Once we've tried these things, then we can talk about X, Y, and Z. And this is assuming you're not somebody who is, 13 years old and suffering in pain every day from an uncurable issue that you're just suffering and your quality of life is just complete trash. Right? I agree with April. The only possible justification is consent. So the question is with professionals, when can you decide consent? I'm not a professional in early childhood development, so I could not say. I don't know. That is an ethical question to be determined by the medical field and regularly discussed amongst medical professionals who are professionals in these fields. I've read that around the age of 7 is about the time when you would be able to make that kind of a decision with, obviously, the assistance of medical professionals and guardians, etc. As well as, like, it depends on when you want to decide. There's going to be this in-between time, right? There's going to be this in-between time of when babies pop out, they're not really done yet, you know what I mean? And so it seems to be that, like, by the time a child, like a baby, starts to have, like, cognizant understanding of self is somewhere around the age of 3 to 4. Again, it's not going to be everyone. This is just what I've read. I'm not a professional. So, can a parent, with medical professionals, decide that they can't keep their child alive because of some medical issue, that the only way this child stays alive for any length of time that is in question is under a microscope, under 100,000 tubes. You've never touched your baby. You're never going to be able to touch your baby. This baby is 3, 4, 5 months, and they're like, and they might die tomorrow. They might die in 2 years. Their life is going, like, are they even living a life? And these are difficult questions. But these are difficult questions you have to ask. Do you euthanize that person? They're a baby, they're born. And at what point are you, the parent, no longer allowed to make that decision alone and you need the child's input? Realistically, there's this between the ages of 3 to 7, there's this 4-year where you're all just gonna have to suffer for the next 4 years. Terminal medical conditions don't respect age. Good point. Exactly. So this is just, all this is the Conservative Party being like, oh, that's icky. I don't like thinking about it. And because I don't like thinking about it, I'm gonna make it go away. What are the people who are left to deal with this supposed to do then? All you're doing is removing legitimate options. Furthermore, we expose the extension of euthanasia and assisted suicide to minors, to people who are not competent, and people who live with psychological suffering, mental illness, and people not terminally ill. Their natural death is not reasonably foreseeable. So they're like, you have to be dying tomorrow before we'll unplug you. There's so much nuance, it would take a week to hash out the pros and cons. Exactly. So this is the thing. This is the thing with things like euthanasia, with things like abortion, anything that is like along assisted suicide. There are so many variables for every individual that the only reasonable thing to do is to make it accessible with as many like options available. The more options that are available, the less likely this person who wants to do the suicide will not choose the suicide, because you're given more options. You're given the healthcare, you're given the access to the medication, you've got the medical professionals there, you have the mental health professionals there. But guess what? Even with all those things, sometimes people just don't want to play anymore. They don't want to be here. And they shouldn't be forced to be here because some fucking conservative shitbag doesn't like the idea. They don't actually care about them. They've already talked about cutting Medicaid, like medical care. They're cutting the taxes. So you're actually going to make life worse for all these people and tell them that they still have to be there, so they keep paying you taxes, so they're wage slaves? Like, what are you talking about? Fuck you! This is dystopian as shit. And so all you're going to end up with is with less assisted suicides, but not less suicides. You're still going to have equal or more suicides. In fact, I would say you're going to have more suicides. The less medical care, the less mental health care, the less access to therapy, to things like antidepressants, like to prescriptions, and the less access to any of these things there is, the more suicides you will get, the more drug addiction you will get, the more death overall you will get. And I'm not saying this hyperbolically. These are the statistics. These are the numbers. The numbers show these things. You reduce somebody's odds of committing suicide if there's a process that they can go and commit suicide. And within that process is medical professionals, mental health professionals, people who are willing to talk up to them and care about them. Fucking duh. If they wanted to stop euthanasia, they would choose a platform that increased access to higher standards of living. Yeah, good point. This is just forcing people to be a labor source. They are wanting a workforce which has no recourse and no choice to end their life because it threatens their consumerism. You're right. You're right. When you distill this down, that's exactly what this is. Because what did they talk about? Union busting. Money to fucking corporations. Less access to healthcare. Less choices. This is why I keep calling the anti-abortion people anti-choice. They're not pro-life. They're anti-choice. They don't want people to not live. They don't care what conditions or what is going on in that person's life, and don't have any interest in making that life better in any way, shape, or form. They could care less about that. They're just anti-choice. They don't want you to have the right to choose. And if a person has the right to choose anything, it should be the right to end their own life. If that's, like, it's your life, it's wholly yours. You should get to choose what to do with it. We oppose MAID, for people living with disabilities or mental illness seeking to die based on poverty, homelessness, or inability to receive medical treatment. Sometimes the inability to receive medical treatment is because the technology doesn't exist, motherfucker. So suffer in poverty forever because we're not going to do anything to alleviate the poverty? How about just alleviate the poverty? How about that? You know what? That would be less expensive. Because you want to know why? You get rid of assisted suicide. Now you have people committing suicide. And now you have to pay to clean it up. You have to do an investigation. You have to do, you potentially are charging people and sending people to the prison system, which all costs money. Sometimes you're charging people with crimes they didn't commit because somebody's being charged for a murder or a homicide, assuming that this person is mentally in a space where they only kill themselves and don't harm anybody else, because then you have that additional cleanup, you have that additional death, you have that additional lawsuit, you have that additional fucking police system. If you wanted to solve this problem, David is 100% right. UBI. You want this to not affect people on poverty? UBI, motherfucker. Access, choices, options, a healthy economy. Good God. Euthanasia must not be an abandonment of people living with genuine needs. It's definitively not. That's you. You are abandoning these people by telling them to sit down, shut up, and go back to work, instead of actually listening to them and their problems and looking for solutions. I'm all for examining the nuance and making the system better. There isn't a social system in existence that's perfect. Cutting it isn't the answer. I agree. Mental health. The Conservative Party acknowledges that healthcare includes mental illness and developmental disabilities, and that all levels of government act within their areas of responsibility to ensure research, public awareness, timely assessment, treatment, and support of individuals and families impacted by mental health and developmental disabilities. You remember, by the way, that they said they wanted to cut funding to, like, make things accessible, right? So, like, ramps and like accessibility, like special elevator accessibilities, all of that shit, that they want to cut that. Maternal health. Oh, great. This isn't gonna make me want to vomit. The Conservative Party supports maternal health and child care initiatives designed to improve and protect women's and children's health. Okay, first problem. We've talked about this already, but I'm going to talk about it again because they're talking about it again. Women's health and children's health are separate things. Stop lumping women and children together. Women are not children. Children are not women. Women's health and children's health. Right? You understand this? The health of a baby and the health of a woman are interconnected, but they are not the same thing. All right? You understand. You understand that a child is not a woman, and a woman is not a child. They do not have the same bodies. They are not the same person. They do not have the same needs. Right? So, you need to separate out what. Tell you what, if you're gonna be weird about it, why aren't men in this? Men, women, and children's health. Or adults and children's health. No, why are men getting, what is this DEI shit of these special treatments that men get? Huh? No? Fuck off. Protect women and children's health and to reduce maternal death during pregnancy and delivery. You know what reduces maternal death during pregnancy and delivery? Abortions. Abortions do that. Abortions do that. We need to abort this. Stop the train. Abort. The train's going off the rails, guys. We gotta stop the train. They're like, no, the train has to keep going. The train has to keep going until it reaches its destination. What shape the passengers and what shape the train is in by the time it gets there doesn't matter. That is what's happening here. The train is on the we put the train on the track and we set the train to go. Woman is now pregnant. All right? The train is the woman, the track is the pregnancy. All right? Oh shit. One of the cars has slid off the fucking track and is getting dragged behind and is damaging the train and the track. So the chance to get pregnant in the future and the woman's body is just being in damage. And if it keeps going like this, the whole train could derail, which means that in the analogy is the woman dies. The train derailing is the woman's death. Everyone is like, well, shit, we better disconnect that car. Right? Like, disconnect the car, and the train can keep going, and we can switch the track and get things back on track, and then we can try again and add another car later. We can try it again later. No. The conservatives, the pro-life people, the anti-choice people are like, no, you are not allowed to take that cart off the train until it reaches the destination 8 months from now. Don't worry, guys, the train will be fine. I'm pro-choice, too. These people are anti-choice. Oh my god. Is it too late to abort Polyev? I don't know, you have to ask the Conservative Party. Oh my god. Hey, listen, the Conservative Party can drop Polyev anytime they want. And that's the thing. Is the train even gonna make it to the destination? Maybe. Like, that's what it is. That do be what it is. That is the most apt analogy I think I've ever made in the history of my life ever. I mean, the fruit tree was a good one for talking about investment, but like, I don't know. I think this train analogy for the abortion is pretty good. All right, anyway. During pregnancy and delivery, the focus will be to ensure provisions of the necessities of life: clean water, appropriate nutrition, inoculations, basic medical care, and training of healthcare workers to care for women and to deliver babies. Hey, how come a house isn't in that? Hey, how come shelter? How come shelter isn't in this list? How come guys, how come shelter isn't in the... Care for women and to deliver babies. Fuck no. Abortion should be explicitly excluded. Explicitly excluded. Hey, remember up here? Not support any legislation to regulate abortion. They want to bring abortion back for a vote. Remember we read earlier? Explicitly excluded. Remember when I said that they mean, when they say no, they mean no, not any legislation to regulate abortion, they mean no regulation, i.e. get rid of it entirely? Gee, you guys, I wonder why women don't like Polyev. I wonder why women in Canada don't tend to vote conservative. I wonder why. I wonder. I'm so curious. I can't imagine why women might not, like, be cool with this. I don't know. Abortion should be explicitly excluded from Canada's maternal and child health program. Well, yeah, it shouldn't be in the child health program. It has nothing to do with children. It's women. You notice how they took the women out of this? Hey, guys, why did you take women out of this? You're saying abortion should be explicitly excluded from women's health care. That's what you're saying. Remember up here? Maternal and child health care initiatives to improve and protect women's and children's health? Maternal and children's health program, and they just took the women out? Yeah, because it doesn't help women. This doesn't improve women's health. It doesn't protect women at all. In any capacity. Maybe women don't like Polyev because he's trying to grab our autonomy by the kitty. That's a good one. I like that. Abortion should be explicitly excluded from Canada's maternal and child health program in countries where Canadian aid is delivered, since it is extremely divisive and often illegal. Oh, you want to remove it from foreign aid, eh? You gonna stop sending condoms too? Yeah, fuck off. Public health emergency preparedness. The Conservative Party of Canada recognizes that public health and emergency demand a Canadian-based rapid response plan, including domestically available biomedical, pharmaceutical, vaccines, and personal protective equipment (PPE) assets, with best practice to mitigate health/death and collateral societal disruption and economic damage. Partnering with provinces and territories, investments in health, research and development, and domestic manufacturing creates good jobs while safeguarding Canadians' health. Portable... Fucking shut up. Portable water. The Conservative Party recognizes that clean drinking water is a basic necessity of human life. The federal government must work with provinces, territories, municipalities, and First Nations to develop an actionable solution with an agreed-upon timeline to deliver access to safe and affordable portable water to all Canadian communities. Ban Nestle! Look, I'm gonna fucking give you a really, really easy solution to this problem. Ban Nestle from Canada. Don't let them produce here. Don't let them use any of our resources. Don't sell their product. Ban Nestle from Canada. In its entirety. Not just its water, not just Nestea, not just fucking Smarties. Ban Nestle in totality. Fuck them. Get them out of here. They're a mess. They're a nightmare creature. Get them. They're a cancer. They're a cancer on our resources. And they're a cancer on our communities. They fucking suck. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Make them pay reparations. And get them the fuck out of our goddamn country. Fuck off. Fuck off forever. Yeah. Woke lords think they should get a drink. Lol. Protecting children's mental health and physical health. No, except for that euthanasia thing. Conservative government will protect children by prohibiting life-altering... Oh! It's the anti-trans clause! A conservative government will protect children by prohibiting life-altering medicinal or surgical interventions on minors under 18 to treat gender confusion or dysphoria, and encourage positive mental and physical health support for all Canadians suffering from gender dysphoria and related mental health challenges. Don't let that boy wear a dress. Protect the children by dictating what clothing they're allowed to wear. That's not authoritarian at all. Oh, god damn it. Oh, the McRae clause. I like that, that's funny. April's on fire today. I like it when people with no medical degrees get to decide what healthcare is available to people. It's a kilt! Protect children by prohibiting them from receiving care. Question. What about children who are pregnant under the age of 18? They need life-altering medical care because being pregnant at that age is life-altering and requires medical care. Will they be allowed to have an abortion? Or are we going the way of the America, where they're gonna force 13-year-olds and 12-year-olds and 10-year-olds to carry pregnancies, and then let women bleed out in parking lots because it's not time to give them an abortion yet? Even though they've got a dead baby that they're carrying around now. And that baby isn't even necessarily a baby they didn't want. a national uniform right to informed consent and bodily autonomy, except for trans people and except for women, and unless you want unless you want to die, unless you want euthanasia, unless you have a debilitating fucking disease that makes your life a living hell. Too bad for all three of those groups. Every Canadian is entitled to informed consent and bodily autonomy, except you, and you, and you, and you, and you. Every Canadian, except those ones, except for those groups. Health professionals must disclose an uncensored risk-benefit analysis for any treatment, including vaccines! So all that shit they were saying, by the way, before about being pro-vaccine and shit, yeah, they just threw that out. While protecting patient privacy. Except that you already gave up patient privacy to the cops. Remember, they already said that the police and anybody any of those professions within that umbrella deserve to have your medical records. So you don't have that either. No constitutional right shall be restricted for refusing medical treatments or disclosure. Except for the fact that you said that you want to give the cops all of our fucking medical data. Right? Except for that. Except for that thing that we... Ow! My thing got stuck in my hair. Except for that thing. Except for that thing. What the fuck? We're not saying vaccines are bad. We're just asking questions, guys. We're just asking questions. Our country shall promote a scientific, unprejudiced, balanced, open discourse. What? That's not even a real sentence. Our country shall promote a scientific, unprejudiced, balanced, open discourse. There we go. Good God. What? Okay, well, if it's scientific, then we're now pro-choice. If we're scientific, then we're pro-LGBTQ plus people. If we're pro-science, and we're unprejudiced, and we're balanced, then we need to be pro these things. If you are not pro these things, you are not being scientific, you are not being unprejudiced, and you are not being balanced. The only conclusion you can come to by being balanced about this is an understanding that mind your own fucking business. Drug and substance abuse. The Conservative Party supports drug prevention and substance abuse program to provide persons with addictions long-term mental and physical health care and supportive social services to address their underlying problems such as mental health illness, family instability, trauma, poverty, or homelessness. Except for those fucking drug dens that are obviously helping you and are actually safe injection sites. Except for that. Not that. We hate that. These people are so fucking ridiculous. It's just like, hey, you know this thing that everybody really likes and everybody really wants? Yeah, we definitely support that thing. And here's some caveats, because this is definitely this. And it's not. It's the opposite. It's always the opposite. It's always the opposite. Women get bodily autonomy, except when they have a dead baby in their womb. Except when they have a cluster of cells trying to make a baby outside, and it's an ectopic pregnancy. Too bad. Get sepsis and die, loser. You are weak anyway. We didn't want you in the gene pool. Like, what the fuck is wrong with these people? These are the type of people who think that, like, if a woman can't get pregnant, they're not a woman. You know what I mean? Like, good God. If you want fair and balanced and unbiased, then women should be allowed to have, should be allowed to get their uterus removed when they want to. And they shouldn't be questions about it. Yeah, they shouldn't have to be talking about, like, what about if your husband wants a child later? Like, as soon as you say that, get the fuck out. It's not like it's, like, that's a major surgery. You don't think they didn't think about it hard enough? And if they regret it later, adopt. Yeah, there's already a woman that got arrested for miscarrying. That already happened. You didn't hear about that? You didn't hear about that shit in America? Birthing persons. Disgusting. We want to help our addicts, but only the ones that don't do drugs. Yo! That's too accurate. Alright, I'm gonna get out of here. We've been live for an hour, 2 hours, 2.5 hours almost. At least I got to the end of the healthcare. The next one is social policy. Yeah. All this stuff they've been talking about, definitely not social policies. Definitely not talking about belief systems over top of the science and over top of, like, the cost-benefit analysis and over top of, like, the statistical value that we can literally measure how beneficial these programs have been. I'm gonna get out of here. Thanks for joining me. Kind of fuck Adam Schiff. Like, maybe he's good for America, and maybe he's, like, gonna be good in American politics, but, fuck you. Like, fuck off. Come and talk to me when you do something, and then I'll care. Thank you so much. Bye.
I disagree infinitely about the way that was dumb, and I hate it.